What a world, what did you dread on the mic, chopping and screwing that bad boy. And yeah guys, it's been a while, I apologize, but to the loyal fans of my channel, I really appreciate you guys being patient. And yeah, hopefully we can get back cooking in the lab like Breaking Bad, because I mean BT13 be coming, and I'm such a Jesmon fanatic that I can't wait to blow off the cobwebs of this deck. I did play him last week and I had so much fun despite the bricks, but when it popped off, mwah, it was like chef's kiss. So for this video for you, as I go through my BT13 deck list for your retinas, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, then make sure you stick around and subscribe, because I do videos hopefully back on the reg. So we're going to dive straight on in here. I'm going to see if we can do this really quick and really swift. So in terms of the eggs, we're keeping it old school. We don't mess with the Gurumon. Gurumon is just best in slot still, because you want to be searching your pieces. And as you can see from my rookie lineup, I've took away BT7 Hookmon, and it really pained me to do so, because it is good. It's such a good searcher for your Sistermons. But right now, I feel like the game plan slightly shifted a little bit, so we really got to utilize the other cards to search out our Sistermons, and then go for that nice big burst turn. But regardless, swinging with more than 6,000 DP and getting a draw one is always going to be beneficial in this style of deck. So we do run that at 4, and you don't need to run any more eggs on that front. That's pretty much all you need. Going over to the rookies, we run 14. It's got to be the BT6 Hookmon. I mean, best guy in the slot, real top 5. Add 2 cards with Hookmon, Jesmon or Sistermon in the name from one step, and then return the rest to the bottom of the deck. It's just perfect. Exactly what you need enough for you to search out your key pieces in order to be clapping those cheeks. We run that at 4 staple. Then now we've got some new sauce in the mix, and that's going to be your boy BT13 Hookmon. I must admit, artwork could use a little bit of work. I ain't gonna lie. Hopefully no art be coming. But in regards to his actual abilities, is really sick. And this is the thing that I'm really like hoping that's going to change the Jesmon gameplay style, and it's going to make Jesmon a lot more popular in the tournament scene. So your turn. When you play a Digimon with Sistermon in its name, you may digivolve this Digimon into a Bow Hookmon in your hand without paying its cost. Huge. Absolutely huge. Though, you got to think that you're playing a Sistermon, so technically it's going to be costing you 3, which is a little bit annoying, but the inevitable will then trigger, mean that you'll be able to gain that 1 memory, which is going to be awesome right there when you go into your next stage. So it's really up to you when you kind of want to be popping off with this. Make sure you do have the right amount of memory in order for you to enable you to keep turn. So we do run that at 4, because we ideally want to get this bad boy even raising ASAP. And then lastly, we conclude with the Sistermon tech. I mean, this boy, round of applause to that brother who has earned the staple and got himself some event pack free drip. I ain't gonna lie, well deserved, because next set's gonna be absolutely crazy with the amount of mons that are going to be just reducing play costs. This boy says no to all of that, and that's why you need to be running this boy at 2, because rolling that deck is going to be, it's going to be relevant. It's definitely going to be relevant, and this just shuts that down completely. Going over to the sisters, we got our girl BT6 Blanc. I mean, standard, fancy Sistermon blockers, draw 1 on play. Gorgeous. I mean, you need to be running that too for sure. And then for the decoy sister right here, she is going to be great in order for you to draw your pieces efficiently, especially now that we're going to be more hard playing these girls down, whilst you do have your hook one out in play, or your bow hook or savior hook and so forth. It means that you can draw into your pieces to extend your combos beautifully. On top of that, decoy is always going to be gorgeous in order for you to kind of keep your main stack on the field. I mean, you don't want to take a hard L by getting absolutely clipped by a freaking Rivals Barrage of some sort. So really good to obviously still run that at 2. Then going on to your champions, we do run 13. We're going to be still running the infamous BT6 Hookmon at 3. We've reduced it down. We've completely sacked off the starter deck one. just because I feel like we still need that bit of removal whilst attacking. When you do have a Sistermon out in play, then when attacking, you are able to delete a Digimon 5k DP or less, which is so helpful. If you go with the Chimeramon plays, fuse them bad boys together, and then you're gonna be still enabling you to clear board efficiently, especially with Chimeramon's effect, which obviously with the 2 colors could reduce that down by 2k to the opponent's field, which is going to just facilitate to you triggering its ESS, which is gorgeous. But we do run that at 3, but ideally we're running the freaking new BT13 Bow Hook at 4. This is once again going to be one of those Digimons that you do want in your raising, or if you have to push out, go for that massive burst play depending on what your memory is at. Because your turn, when you play a Digimon with Sistermon in its name, you may digivolve this Digimon into a Savior Hook Mon in your hand for its Digivolution cost. When this Digimon would digivolve with this effect, reduce its Digivolution cost by 2. Huge, absolutely sick. If you do have the BT13 Hookmon underneath, then you're going to gain memory from playing that Sistermon, reducing the cost even further, which is just gorgeous. Really powerful card. Ideally, you want to get this bad boy in raising, or if you're going to push out, then you're going to initiate your absolute burst turn going into your Jesmon and so forth. So, do want to be running that 4. Then over to the Sisters here. Sisters is definitely, it was very hard to kind of think about how my plays are going to be executed along with my level 5s and so forth. So we do run the 3 BT6 CLs. This card is so freaking good because this just facilitates the Chimeramon plays beautifully. Like, just playing a champion for free is sick. Also, DP gain is going to be massive in order for you to withstand, you know, Heaven's Judgment, man. You just don't want to get hit by that card, especially if you're versing a multicolored deck. It saved me massively at my last locals because I'm able to push over that threshold of me getting absolutely taken out by a freaking option, because it grants me additional 2k DP and also on play from a Jesmon effect. When I'm playing the Sistermon for free, I'm gaining memory, which is just perfect. Obviously, with this deck, it's all about that turboing up into your top end. So gaining that memory and gaining DP is going to be massive for you to either swing over your opponent or ensure that you're not going to get absolutely clipped by the opponent's security. So ideally, you do want to be running this at 3, though you can obviously flex it to 2. It's completely up to you. We do run the BT10 CL, which is going to be really good in terms of comboing up the new hook line effects in terms of them evoing on top of, well, from playing a Sistermon. This just works and coincide with that, which is just perfect because it means that you can really accelerate your plays, but you do have to watch out in terms of the ordering of how you initiate these plays in order to get the maximum benefit. BT Cell is just once again still a solid staple in this deck and is pretty much like your X antibody option, but searchable and within the archetype, and is also a free body on field. So really solid here. Definitely do want to be running that at 2. And then lastly, we have not this Sistermon CL starter deck down to 1. The reason why is just more to deck space. You could literally go 2-2-2. That's absolutely fine. But I feel like BT6CL has earned the slot of 3 because she has served her purpose well. She does really facilitate the Chimeramon plays. We are going into a strange meta where Blue Flare could be still quite relevant in the next format. It's got so much tools in EX4 that you want to make sure that you can actually still freaking do something, and at least then if they're not going to just knock away your Sistermons, then you can utilize the Sistermons and DNA and still continue with your game plan. Though Sistermon CL starter deck is still pretty sick because it enables you to get that reboot, which if you are in GX, it means that you can block again. Also, just enables you to get some additional searches and control where your cards go. And obviously you can search and get a Hookmon or Jesmon or a card with Royal Knight in its name and add to hand. But if you obviously get these Sistermons amongst those searches, you can put them into trash, ready for you to initiate your Savior Pokemon ESSs to get them back out from the trash and get them on the field. So really good facilitator out there, but at the moment I feel like we can afford to knock it down to 1. Though, like I've mentioned before, you can do a 2-2-2 split. It is completely up to you, and obviously it relies on how your meta is at your local scene. So then we go over to the Ultimates. Ultimates was a tough one, guys. I ain't gonna lie with you. It took some serious discussion with my internal self to figure out what is ideal and who should be making the cut, because I've been banging on about, you know, Jesmon's now got that full consistency. Like, if we wanted to go full on Jesmon consistency, then we have enough hooks, saviors, bows, and so forth in order for us to just keep within its archetype. Though Chimeramon still earned that freaking spot and is so powerful for you to extend those combos, so it still had to be in. And I mean, I talk a lot on Discord, and you know, y'all need Jesmon chat. If I came in with just one Chimeramon, I reckon I would have got shot. I'm not gonna lie. So in terms of what we're rocking on here, we're still gonna rock the restricted to 1 Savior Pokemon BT6. Still think this is really relevant. Really good trash dog in order for Chimeramon to be popping off, because you are gonna be playing a lot more Sistermons, and you're just gonna be utilizing that in order for you to kind of essentially swing twice. Because with the inheritable, it doesn't necessarily state that you have to be a Digimon with Royal Knight in its traits. It's just basically you have to have a Sistermon. So Chimeramon can swing twice depending on how your board state is. So for example, if you've evoed into Jesmon X and now all of your Digimon can attack unsuspended, go into Chimeramon, and you have this underneath whilst having the Sistermon out on field, you could literally effectively clear board quite nicely by just swinging into your opponent's field, which is really, really strong. Or you can swing twice into the opposition to claim game. It's a very powerful card, and I think as on top of that, we do have ways that we can really claw back a lot of memory with the inheritables that are going to be underneath us. Which effectively means that we could play a Sistermon technically cover the cost of going into Savior Hook. So, prime example, obviously we do have the BT13 and the both BT13 Bow Hook and your Hookmon. And if you evo into this, and obviously where digivolve effect is play a Sistermon from hand without paying its memory cost, play down a BT6 sister, you gain a memory, and then you gain 2 memory, which effectively has covered the cost for this digivolve, which is pretty massive. Gaining 3 memory, huge, absolutely huge. It means that if you're going to say Jesmon, you could either just pass over very little memory or not, or just leave them at 1 in that sense. So very strong card right here, especially with the new kit that it's got. So we have to win it at 1. Then let's go over to the new Savior. The new Savior, hella sick. I'm kind of thinking, is this boy going to get a pre-release stamp? Have no idea, because it is an uncommon. But regardless, the thing that makes this boy so strong is that the effects. Your turn. When you play a Digimon with Sistermon in its name, you may digivolve this Digimon into a Jesmon. Being very important here. So you have to evo into a Jesmon. Not a Jesmon in its name, it has to be a Jesmon. So it's either going to be the Star Deck Jesmon or the BT13 Jesmon in order for you to get its next effect, which then you'll be able to reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So if you use the new Jesmon, effectively it's costing you 1. If you use the Star Deck Jesmon, it's going to be costing you 2 to obviously evo, which is very strong. The ESS is exactly the same as what the starter deck Jesmon Savior Hook was. So we're still able to get that Sistermon advantage, which is going to be sick. Going to be triggering on inheritables and so forth. So really, really solid card. You do want to be running this at 4. Also, its DP is 8k, which is also still pretty strong, especially if you are planning to run the starter deck bow hook, which grants you obviously that additional DP, means that you could be swinging for 9. Very strong. Then lastly, we do run the 1 starter deck Savior Hook, which is still a very solid card. Built-in Judgment of the Blade, which is just sick when you digivolve, and then also able to play Sistermon when attacking, which is just very, very good. So we do run that at 1, but we got to run our boy Kimmy up in this biz, still at 2. I'm like, I've had it at 1. I'm thinking the 1-off is never the way to go. Like, it's just like, do you want to see this card? No? Then run it at 1. If you want to see his card, then you need to be running it at 2 at least. Ensure that you got to get it in hand. Obviously, it is out of archetype, but it just facilitates so many freaking power plays and an immense board state, which sometimes the opponent just can't answer. Just reducing that DP as well to the end of the opponent's turn. Once again, still massive. It's just a facilitator to extend plays and also just claim your games right there, especially depending on the matchups. If you're versing, say, like Blue Flare, who just primarily stun your board, then Kamemon is also your way to get out. Quartzmon suspends everything. Kamemon is also your way out of that. So, very powerful card. You do want to be running that at 2, in my personal opinion, but it's completely up to you. Now, let's go over to the ultimates. Not the ultimates, the megas. Megas is, once again, one of those things where it was really difficult to kind of define what I want to run. I run, obviously, the Jesmons as standard, but we also got some nice 2 techs in there, depending on game state. But I feel like both play very strong positions in the deck. But it's completely up to you how, you know, depending on your locals, you could literally just completely sack 1 off and run 2, or vice versa. So let's just go over just the actual standard starter deck Jesmon. I feel like this is still a very powerful card, in my personal opinion. There's been a lot of debate where people have sacked off this completely and have just running the Jesmon X antibody, which is absolutely fine. But the thing I do like about this is the fact that it works really well with the new BT13 Savior Hook, because it has to evo into a Jesmon, being the key phrase here, not a Jesmon in its name. So this just really works well. It means that you can still swing. It means that you can get that 2 additional security check when you play Sistermon. It's just all sweet, and you gain additional 3000 DP for the turn. So once again, if you do go into kind of big combo plays, it just ensures that you're going to be just doing heavy damage, which is just good. Especially in this format, and especially with Jesmon, you need to make sure that if you're going to clap back hard, and this is what this boy does. So I do run that at 3. We do run the Jesmon X antibody at 2. Which, once again, it was a very tough decision to obviously reduce the actual count here, because personally what I'm running now is 3-3 between the 2, and they work so well because 1, piercing, 2, attacking unsuspended when I play a Sistermon out is really strong, and then gain the additional 2 KDP till the end of your opponent's turn, which plays a massive part in this meta, especially when you are facing off with, say, the likes of Shine Grey, who, you know, has the ability to just do mass DP reductions. Just enabling you to kind of push over really helps you out. And then just attacking unsuspended can really just change a game state completely, while still getting that aggression of piercing on top of that. So we do run that at 2. Once again, I would love to run it at 3, but deck space. Then let's discuss the techs here. And these are the ones that are kind of like the bricks of essentially the deck. Like, I think Gankamon is a lot more playable because it can evo on top of a red and black, but Craniumon can actually be a brick in your hand. So ideally, it's one of those targets that you want to use when you are using your Decoy Blanc as on play, and just trash that card and draw 2. But Gankamon is really good in order for you to not be DP reduced to absolute high heaven, especially when you're facing off with like Shine Greymon, who's all about that DP reduction. Really, really helpful. Obviously, we do have Armor's Security Edition, which is pretty menacing right there. Heaven's Judgment can really get menacing depending on how many colors they've got on the field. But Gankumon just says no to all of that, which is good. Obviously, it prevents bounce on top of that or being returned to the freaking deck, which is helpful. So, really, really strong. Gains that additional DP of 2k to the end of the opponent's turn. This is one of those cards where it's like, game ender. Do you have a response? And you hope to God they don't have a fucking chain ash. Chain ash? So yeah, you don't want any of that. But Gankumon is a really, really solid card. And I think it's going to be solid in the upcoming format. Then we do have the Craniumon. The Craniumon is very interesting because of its actual when digivolving. And also got an on play, but most likely that will never happen in this deck. So when this Digimon isn't affected by effects of your opponent's Digimon until the end of the opponent's turn, this is pretty big right here. Because say like, for example, Quartzmon, if it goes into Quartzmon and it basically it wants to suspend your card, it can't be affected by that. Like your stack, which Jesmon Jigs will have this underneath, it just won't affect it. Also, say with Hunters, can't be affected to be tucked under one of my Digimon, but it can be affected by options. Like, options, still a thing, because that's not a Digimon effect, but anything that's a Digimon effect related thing, it can't touch it, which can be quite massive. And I feel like, depending on your matchup, this could come freaking clutch, and just getting shafted by the one-off is just so nice. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. When your person's like, that one-off, mate, that one-off, yeah, caught you off guard. It's like when Beelzemon now with the freaking EX2 Impmon, the one-off, boy, just milled out and got a freaking absolute chain of Wizardmons, which just gained them a ton of memory. It's very frustrating, but really good if you are the person who's doing the luck sacking. So we do run a 1-1 split. Really depends on your meta, which either way you want to take it. You could run 2 Gankus, that's not a problem. You can run 2 Craniumons, that's also not a problem. But I feel like between the two, probably Gankumon's probably the stronger fit and will be less of a lead fucking brick in your deck. But we can't say that the freaking effect of Craniumon is not great. Like that's all I'm saying right there. Lastly, we talk about the boy. We talk about the Jesmon GX, the level 7 of the deck, which is just still top-end boss monster. It's really, really strong in what it does. Just being able to just absolutely gain security checks based on how many freaking roll knights you have in the stack. And that does also include the option as well, which is pretty crazy because it has it in its traits. Is mental. Obviously gaining blocker, gaining piercing, really, really strong. It just facilitates so many power plays. And now with this new support that we've got, we're gaining memory back for the Sistermons we're playing, which is obviously going to be reducing the cost of you going into GX and just doing that big burst turn, which I can get fully behind of. Obviously, you can run 3 GXs. That's definitely not a problem. I do find like that running 3 maybe a little bit bricky, though it keeps your security spicy. You know, maybe you don't want to crash into a 15k in security. That's never nice. But also, you don't want to be running into a full hand of freaking GX either. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. But GX is a very, very solid card. Great top end, and I would invest in it now before the actual set comes out. Then go into options. So options here, we gotta go in with 2 red memory boosts. I'm not going to lie, this is one of those ones where it's been really hard to define the approach of what I want to do with this deck. I feel like red memory boosts and the memory gains that we get now could really combo nicely. You know, if you just absolutely do amazing power play, still keep the turn, and then just finish up with a nice cozy freaking Solomon and go response. And that is what I like about Red Memory Boost. It enables us to bank that memory outside of Master to Disciple, as well as able to just search the top 4 cards and just get a key piece that we need. We may be already flooded with Sistermons, and we might just need that gorgeous freaking savior in order for us to even get up into our top end. So I can't deny not having this in. I would love to run second Meppa, but I feel like if I had that at the starting hand, it's just going to be there. It's in my hand doing nothing. Whereas Red Memory Boost, I feel like it's going to provide a lot more early game, mid game, in my security. It's 2 memory that I'm banked. Happy days. So then, lastly, Master from Disciple. Absolutely cracked card. I'm so glad I managed to get my stamped versions of this card. Just because, one, it's just fantastic at what it does for this archetype. I mean, reduced digivolution cost for your next Evo is massive. Real top 3. And able to basically search out your entire deck minus the Chimeramon and Solomon, and then basically place what you need to place in trash, facilitating those big combos if you happen to trash your Sistermons and so forth. It's just a really powerful card and very cost efficient in order for you to choke your opponent there as well. So it's a 4-off for sure, without a doubt. But boy, I am done with the deck. Hopefully you sat around and watched it all. I know Mario did mention saying like he doesn't like to reveal the full deck list because it just absolutely has a negative effect on the video. I kind of hope that maybe my personality might keep you guys engaged. If not, I'm sorry for being basic. I'm sorry. I apologize for being a basic bro. But if you enjoyed the content, then make sure you smash it with a like as standard. Really enjoyed kind of getting back on the camera. Like I say, life has been hectic. It's been so busy. I've been working out again. Really loving the gym once more. I've lost 1.5 stone, which is pretty massive for me. So yeah, hopefully I can get back on the grind, really get those deck lists out for you, and yeah, just enjoy the game again. As well, I do want to kind of get on the webcam in terms of playing games, so I need someone to kind of ease me back into the webcam games. I did have a friend who I absolutely enjoyed, you know, vibing out, having absolute balance, and just having some games, just chilling out, catch up with life. But unfortunately, my boy just disappeared off the face of the planet. I don't know where he gone. I don't know where he gone, but he gone somewhere. So, you know, drop me a line and say like, yo, Dread, let's have a few games, just a few bants, a few laughs and so forth. But enough of me waffling. I'm done. Peace out. Stay fly. Out.